Welcome to the Fitchburg Municipal Airport Commission meeting. It's July 17th at 6:02 p.m. Members in attendance this evening, to my left is Commissioner Paul Hathaway, myself, Clayton Raymond, Chair, and to my far right, Rich Liberatore, Secretary, Commissioner. Also, Peter Kettle, Airport Manager, is right here on my right. Others in attendance this evening, we have an empty house. This is probably the first time I've seen that in a long time. So either we're doing our job or nobody cares.
All the problems, or they've given up.
I'm not quite sure about that, but we're gonna have a meeting anyways. I'd like to begin by getting approvals for last month's meeting minutes. If we could get a motion to accept.
I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the 24th of June.
I'll second that.
And I will agree. So 3-0 approved. June
24th.
June 24th minutes. Also, item 1, action items from previous minutes. I believe everything is going to be recovered
All covered.
this evening, tonight's agenda.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you, Peter.
Welcome.
Correspondence to the commission. Anything? Nothing to me. Peter?
Nothing.
Thank you. Item 3, Gale review of ongoing work. I guess Peter's going to fill in for Mr. Karen this evening.
Yeah, Gale offered their apologies for not being here. They will be at the next meeting. And I managed to get a copy of the monthly project update, which I'll read out the blue items. There were 3 items, still the 3 items that were on for the last 4 or 5 months, maybe longer. The first one's the environmental assessment and wildlife hazard assessment. The final rounds of wildlife survey took place on May the 20th to the 22nd, with the draft wildlife hazard summary report expected to be received on Friday the 26th. The following Gale Airport review, following the Gale Airport review, the document will be assessed by the FAA for review. Comments are expected from the airport and Gale by August the 12th, because it has to be to the FAA by August the 16th. And I will pass this to Commissioner Liberatore once we finish reading it. The second item on the report was design and permitting for main apron reconstruction. The contract between Gale and the airport has been executed. Sub-consultant agreements are being circulated for signature, and the survey and geotechnical exploration work is being scheduled. Gale will inform the airport in advance of this work taking place. Grant funding from FAA and MassDOT is still pending. I'd just like to remind everybody that on this particular one, it is this year, 2025, but basically we do not, as an airport, have the money to pay our 5%. So I believe from memory, this particular project on the CIP is around about $1.9 million. So we would have to find 5% of that, so about $100,000, so which we don't have. But I have something in my back pocket that maybe we will have it, and I'll know better at the next meeting. Okay?
Great.
Number 3, the groove seal and remark runway 3214. The project is substantially complete. The wash water is expected to be discharged towards the end of this week or early next week, and the tank will be removed from the airport property. Part of the sludge was put into a tank. They couldn't take it away on the tankers, which when they withdrew the water, that's all settled now. So what we're going to do is put a bag on the end of the pipe that comes out. We're going to take it up the old 2-0 embankment, and we're going to let the water trickle down there, because hopefully we'll put some seed on where the original big tank was.
Great.
So that's the plan, and hopefully that will be done this Friday, maybe go into Saturday. If not Saturday, it'll definitely be Monday. and Gail is coordinating with the airport and MassDOT to schedule a final inspection, and that will mean MassDOT's Owen Silbau coming out to do the final inspection. On those previous 3 items, there are no actions by the airport. The other items, the MedStar Legal Gal assisted the airport in preparing and submitting an FAA and MassDOT grant application to recover funds associated with the MedStar lawsuit. We are currently awaiting the grant award and will submit a reimbursement request once the grant is issued. So we are just waiting for one signature.
Wow.
Okay? Thank you, and I'll pass that over to Commissioner Liberatore for recording.
Thank you, Peter.
May I make a comment, Peter, and the rest of the commissioners? I'd just like to thank you, Peter, for your superb leadership on the runway project. As someone that uses the runway, I was delighted with it the other day. And again, it's just another example of what you've been able to bring to Fitchburg Airport in terms of improvement.
Thank you.
And leadership. So
Thank you.
kudos.
Thank you.
Agreed. Thank you, Paul.
And I'd like the minutes to show that.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Item 4 is the Fitchburg Pilots Association. Young Eagles, August 24th and October 12th. Anything from Fitchburg?
They are actually applying for permission to have the Young Eagles event on August the 24th, so the Commission needs to vote on it. And the second Young Eagles event will be on October the 12th, so they need a vote tonight. And once you've given us that vote, I will actually go back to them and let them know, and they can start planning.
Okay, so you don't have anything going on at the airport on those particular dates. So as far as you're concerned, it's okay with
fine.
you?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That applies to both dates.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept Young Eagles events, August 24th and October 12th.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Aye.
Aye. 3-0, let's move forward on the 24th and the 12th. Thank you, Peter. New business, noise abatement. Peter.
If you remember at the last meeting, I actually showed you the signs for the noise abatement where you don't start turning crosswind at between 700 to 800 feet if you're on instrument, but on visual flight, then basically we're requesting that any person that visits the airport when they take off, they go up to pattern altitude of about 1340 feet. Those signs will be installed this coming Tuesday so that everybody that lands at the airport can read the sign and follow the notification. Since that has been discussed with the Pilots Association, we've had very, very few complaints. So once that's done, and besides that, it's going to go onto the chart supplement on August the 8th. So anybody that's intending to come to the airport will see that there is a noise abatement in place.
And would that flow through into something like ForeFlight?
It should do,
Normally
yes.
it says
Yes, it should.
noise abatement procedure.
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Because it's going on the FAA supplement.
Great.
And
So that's where they get
their
this
info.
stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Perfect.
So the signage is so we can get ahead of it. Otherwise, we'll have to wait until August.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that makes it official. That's,
Oh, correct.
so
Yeah. Go ahead, Rich.
The noise abatement came about because there were complaints on the Fitchburg side or the Lummester side?
both.
Oh, okay, so it affected
3-2
a much
and
larger
1-4.
area.
Yeah, 3-2 and 1-4. It's if you've got a runway that goes in either direction, if you're taking in one direction, they turn, as I said, you're going up, you're flying, you'll get hold of the joystick and you'll move it and you'll turn to the left because it's a left wing pattern, left crosswind pattern, normally at about 700 to 800 feet. You're on full power. You're climbing up to 1340 and then you've got to turn again, so everybody hears it.
And your
So-
propeller is set to the coarsest pitch. Think of a boat where you're just trying to claw your way for altitude, right? And it's the most noisy. Sorry, go ahead.
So instead of turning here, they're going to go all the way up to 1340, which takes them out maybe another mile and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And at that altitude, you had the golf club, the Monoosnot Golf Club. People around that area were complaining all the time. So now it's taking it virtually the other side of Route 2, which is
okay.
perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, so now you're not affecting everybody.
Nobody.
So that's from 1-4, you'd be
On
really
1-4.
over the intersection of 190 and by the Orchard Park Mall if you're coming
Right.
out making, and then the other way, you'd be going out over, almost like Oak Hill, right?
Not quite as
Not
far
quite
as
as far as Oak Hill.
But then you're going to be much, much higher,
Sure.
even though Oak Hill is high in any case, hence the name.
Yeah.
But they were turning virtually, I mean, me and my 172, virtually over the school bus
Sure.
park.
Sure.
And there's people down there that some of them do have PTSD, and they got quite irate. And now they've actually come back saying thank you to the airport for what you're doing.
Makes a big difference. Yeah.
And so people have
Which is
already
good.
noticed the change.
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Hey, it's a
Absolutely.
tiny effort on our part, and if it helps the community,
Be good neighbors. And look, if anybody ever escalates a noise abatement issue, we've done our part, right, to be good neighbors, and you educate pilots, and
yeah. Thank you. That's good. Because I live on Oak Hill, and I don't want to have to complain. All right, very good. New business, any other comment?
No.
Back to old business, RFP for non-aviation land lease, update.
The RFP has been prepared. It's gone to the mayor and myself for a quick look at. But because it's only on the restaurant at this time, it's going to be issued next week by Mary Delaney, the procurement people. And it will go to more than the areas where it went to in the past. Basically, the people that said they were going to be interested in it are going to be sent the documents directly, as
Yep.
against getting it off the website. So we're hopeful that we'll get some applicants this time.
So this is for the land for the potential restaurant only.
The 8,000
So
square
what about
feet.
the other pieces of
That's
property?
coming later.
Month?
Maybe a month.
Okay.
Maybe a month, because you will be involved in that because
Yeah.
we're part of that team. So,
Yeah.
And this is going to go out next week.
yes.
Okay.
Very good.
in terms of steering the eventual approval of the applicant, does the commission, weigh the various applicants in terms of their general appeal? I know at the Keene Airport, when I was based there, the airport that used to serve a very broad base, it was basically an American Grill diner-type facility, was replaced by a very, 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 very specific restaurant with a very narrow appeal. And the reason they chose the airport was because it had the lowest rent. It was the quickest turnkey for their restaurant style. And subsequently, Keene lost the ability to have an airport restaurant that appealed to a broad base. I think that's something we should just be careful of.
So we can say no, all right? And we can be selective. But it's still going to go for an RFP.
Oh, totally
Yeah.
understood. But I
Yeah.
think that in considering that the applicants, the broadest possible appeal,
Yeah,
rather than some laser-focused cuisine, is
I-
probably your better bet.
I understand, yeah.
If I may just comment,
Yeah, go ahead,
there's a
Peter.
little bit of a difference between Fitchburg and Keene, because Keene, the building was there.
Yeah,
So it was getting somebody in that maybe had a little, I don't know, maybe a truck down the road.
yes.
And they bid on it and they got the job. Whereas
Right.
here, somebody that comes in here has got to build the property.
Right.
And I think that's going to make a big difference.
Oh, no, yeah, that's a very good point.
So,
And we don't have to supply, I know we had talked previously about a concrete pad, bringing in utilities. This is going to be an open concept where whoever accepts this, they're doing all of this.
they are,
All that we're doing is leasing the
the
land.
land, correct.
Okay.
With the prior restaurant in the old building, there was, in the midst of time, recall issues with grease getting into the sewer, the septic system there. Is that no longer a factor?
It's not, because basically where the flight school is at the moment,
Right.
there was a grease trap in the ground.
Right, I
for that.
remember.
So when the people put in the restaurant, the new area, they'll have to put a grease trap in.
Got it.
Just the same.
Got it. Perfect.
So,
It's just like any restaurant going into the municipal sewer.
right,
Right, yeah.
yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, well, hopefully we get more than one bidder, multiple bidder, you know?
Well, we had 4 or 5 people interested, and I actually showed people around in the past. So, you know, the first year I was 4 years ago.
And like you said, they're going to have it's going to be a lot of commitment on their part,
It is.
a lot
It
of
is.
commitment, you know? Because they're not developers, they're just a restaurant people.
Right.
So it's a lot. Yeah, I hope, I certainly hope something comes of it. How many days is that going to be out for proposal?
I think it goes out for 90 days.
90 days,
I
yeah.
think so.
Okay.
I think so.
So it'll be a while before we hear back. All right, thank you. Item B, minimum standards. Worked on it a little bit this week, and basically I couldn't get away from the black and the red and the green, but the red is, I sent it to you guys email. So the red is just questions of, I didn't know what to put. So, for instance, Mr. Estabrook had mentioned there's many places in the document that mention laws, rules, codes, and regulations. And the issue was brought up as what rules? Where are they written? What codes? Where are they written? So I still have them in red because I don't know what exactly the old minimum standards was referring to when they said rules. Are they talking about, hey, if you see a stop sign on the airport, you need to stop? You know, the FAA regulations is nothing more than a group of rules. So do I need to even have the word rules in there? Should I just call it FAA regulations, airport city codes? It still needs work.
Everything within the document is regulated under FAA.
Not always.
Well, let me rephrase that. Everything that we put forward has to be approved by the FAA.
The FAA will review the minimum standards, and basically they're going to just check it to see that we're not discriminating. They're going to check it to see that we're not given solitary right, exclusive rights to any one person. Other than that, they tend to think that it's the city's
Our
document.
document.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're really just looking to make sure that it's consistent with their grant assurance
Yeah.
requirements, and that you haven't gone off and said, oh, we're going to chop the airport up after taking the
We're going to
FAA's
do this,
money
we're
and-
going to do that.
Yeah, build hotels.
So it's at least into a position where I sent it to Paul as well, and I think that everyone should take a look at it over the next 30 days and come back with feedback on the red language in the document.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Take it.
And that would be welcoming.
We could do that.
Yeah. I thought there was only black and red in here. There's still some green, but
But in terms
I'll
of
fix that.
progress in open meeting law, we should return any edits or comments to you.
we have to. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of the reasons I didn't send it to you, a week ago. It's just, you got it. It's in your email.
Got it.
You
Take a look.
just sent that?
Yeah, not too long ago.
Okay. I'll-
Yeah,
you
today.
check. All right. If not, I'll be sending
Yeah.
back to you.
So just to be clear, the red is things I think either I didn't understand or need to be changed. You guys can let me know.
All right.
I'm just scanning through it now just to see if anything pops up. I put in red business, but I don't think in the definitions, the word business is in there. So we need to define what a business is at the airport. I'm sure in 1976, you could just say, hey, it's a business. Business is a business. But here nowadays, people can claim, well,
I'm
it's
a
really not a
business.
business. It's a,
Yeah. It's my
it's a this, it's a that.
Yeah.
So,
I can have a go at that. We've done a bit of work on that on the planning board in Groton in terms of defining what is a part-time occupation, what is a hobby, what is a business that holds out to the public with regular business hours, what is an by appointment only business. So on a separate issue, but very deep parallels. So
yeah. Yep. All right. That's all I have on that.
We'll check it out.
I think, it's worth moving at a snail's pace rather than
Yeah, but we want to get
getting it done in a
right.
hurry and then just being all messed up and not helping anyone. So, thank you. Item C, Crawford Street safety update. Nick Erickson.
Yeah, Commissioner Erickson offered his apologies, but in discussions with him, he said that MassDOT have not come back to him, so he's going to reach out to them again. But because the city now has a new financial year, there is budget available for him as his department, and he's going to put chevrons around the dangerous areas, which will make a difference. I mean, touch wood, we haven't had an accident there for maybe 6 months, which is good. So I think people are slowing down because of the signs, the 40 signs.
Yeah.
And it's definitely getting better, and the chevrons will help.
That's good.
And I thank Commissioner Erickson for that. So,
Does he still want to have the highway traffic
oh, absolutely.
DOT
That's-
people come
that's
in?
the MassDOT.
I mean, I feel bad because he reaches out to them, they're not responding back. Is there something we can do as a commission to reach out to MassDOT and say, hey, we have an issue here, and you tend to put us off to the side, don't want to deal with our issue.
Well, I could just comment on that by saying the DPW are involved, and also the police department is involved. So they are, again, talking with MassDOT.
Okay.
And we've just got to wait for MassDOT. It's not something that you can insist gets done, So he's on it, and I'm sure he'll come through. But I love the offer of him to put the chevrons on.
That's
which
great.
will make a big difference.
So that he's going to start that project.
Yes.
And to be clear, it's not the same MassDOT that we work with in the
Oh, no,
aeronautical
I understand.
division.
This is the
them.
traffic bureau.
Yes.
Highway people. Yeah, I understand that.
and this is probably also their busiest time of year,
Probably is.
fixing the roads.
Yeah, they got their own agenda right now.
Thank you, Peter.
Welcome.
Item D, Rocking Horse Enterprises.
This is the company that we're talking to about the 30 new T hangars, and also 2 large 100 by 175 foot hangars. Over the past 2 days, we've had a couple of meetings with them, and the original intent was to put in 20, 20, 20, and 10. I think it was 50 in total. And they've now come back saying, well, what we'd like to do, because if we put in the large ones like the FACT have at the moment, they are combined over 7,500 square feet, so you have to have fire suppression in, which is the water system. Well, they are proposing putting 5 in. So there will be 5 at 42 feet, 3 at 42 feet, and 2 at 48 feet, like the one that you've got, Paul, the bigger ones. So there's going to be 3 of those giving the 15. And they want to have a space in between of 20 feet, which will negate the expensive fire suppression system. And I like the idea. They want to do 6 of those in total to give us 30 hangars, plus 2 of the large 175 by 100, because they've already got people interested in doing that from Hanscom, because of the Hanscom situation on pricing.
Sure.
So I told them that I'd bring this up tonight. You've got the documents in front of you and you can see what's been drawn. So if you look at the top one, you've got the 100 by 150, sorry, not 175. Next to that, on the left-hand side, there will be another one just there.
Same
then-
dimensions.
Exactly. And then you've got the 6 down behind that, the 3, and then the other 3 coming down towards Taxiway Alpha. And they are 50 by 75 in total. So it's 3,500 square feet, and there'll be 5 hangars in there. So they want to know if this principle is acceptable to the Commission before going further. Now, I did tell them that at this stage, before they get this done, I think we should speak to Gale Consultants, because they're the ones that control the airport in line with the airport master plan, and get their permission as well. And in all honesty, if we're going to move forward, I think Gale should be involved in this in any case. Personal opinion.
If I, just to make sure I 100% correctly understand this, the space between these two buildings proposed up here is 20 feet across here?
That's
No.
75 feet, Paul.
75?
Yes, because you've got to get a plane down there.
Well, that's what I was going to say. How do
Yeah,
they do snow,
that's the taxiway.
snow removal?
No, it's the 20 is in between
It's
the lengths,
Oh, thank you.
okay?
Now it all makes sense.
Yeah, all right?
20 between
So,
each
Peter-
hangar.
Yes.
How many spaces are we giving up by making the 20-foot slots between the hangars?
2,
We're giving up 2 total?
right. It's
That's
40
it?
feet. 40 feet, one on either side, back and front. 2 hangars. Well, not even 2 hangars, because you can't get a 42-foot plane.
Well, how many airplane
40
spaces are we giving up per row?
Per row, there's
Going to be giving up 4?
Not quite, no.
No, just two, really.
Just 2, because you can't, to put a plane in there, you'd have to do it crossways.
Yeah, yeah.
doesn't really-
Because you can't get your 42
Okay.
feet
It really
in.
only adds up to a back and a front.
I did tell him that, the whole idea of having the control from the FAA is they want the airports to get the best bang for the square foot of the area that we can lease, right? But remember, this is a land lease. And if even though there's a gap in there, if they're going to use that for parking, they're still going to pay the 50 cents per square foot. So we're not losing.
Understood, but we don't have an endless amount of land, and I'm just,
But we're not losing anything.
yeah.
And so I would comment, this is sort of the way the hangars are constructed up at Lawrence, where there is a buffer between the buildings, and it's extremely useful. People tend to park their cars on the end, and it stops cars being in the alley when aircraft are taxiing. On the fire suppression issue, I would say that certainly probably speaking from my experience, what I've read from the FACT, the fire suppression system has been the single biggest problem they have wrestled with for a decade or more. The system they chose leaks, it's hard to pressure test, it's a constant expense. The false alarms, and God forbid one day it goes off and showers somebody's airplane
Right.
hangar with an unneeded suppression. So it's just a matter of time, really. So I think that it's also probably the biggest cost driver in the construction of T hangars, the fire suppression system, getting that all put in. I think eliminating that is brilliant if it really isn't a requirement, because it makes the development of that property much more attractive.
It's not a requirement, and if you look at the
great.
1, 2, 3, 4, if you look at the 6 hangars that the airport owns down at the airport, or the city owns down at the airport, not one of those has fire suppression.
Right.
They're all under 7,500 square feet.
Right.
So, I would recommend to the.
So what about these 2 big hangars? They're going to.
They'll have to have it.
They'll have to
They'll
have it.
have to have it, yes. Yeah.
Well, and due to their size, their intended usage will probably be for a corporate or a turbine airplane, and they would not be able to get insurance for the aircraft
No.
if the storage facility did not have fire suppression.
Agreed.
It is not required for piston smaller aircraft.
Yeah.
Would there
How
be
many
20 feet of space between the 2 large hangars?
Oh, yes, maybe more.
Maybe more? Okay.
And in terms of how many total aircraft would this bring, excluding, say, the turbine aircraft up in the big hangars? How
There's
many-
going to be 30 within the T hangars.
And so what is your back of the envelope on annual fuel sales that would bring to
Oh,
the
it's,
airport?
it's going to be fantastic.
500,000, right?
It really, well, no, not
No.
that much. I
Quarter
wish it
million?
was, but yeah, not that much. And I'm going to get to the financials
Oh,
a
perfect.
little bit later.
Perfect.
All right. So, can you have? a
Yeah,
vote?
we get a ground lease out of it, and we get, and more importantly, and more lucrative is the fuel sale.
I like it because of the location doesn't really tie up any future options, right?
This is where the hill starts to rise.
No.
No.
This is below the hill. That road going across the top there, that's a road, Richie.
That goes
Above
to
that
Blueberry
is
Lane.
the hill.
Okay.
That's the hill.
So there's still
This
more
is the
room
taxi.
for another
Just at that
100 by
base.
150s?
No, because the other one's going to be there, and then that's where the slope starts, right, just there.
At the road?
Yes.
So if you look at the white building to the right of Peter's drawing, that's actually the Bill Taylor's hangar.
FBA.
Oh, it is?
FBA
Okay,
co-op,
yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So 2 buildings, 100 by 150, and then 6 buildings, 50 by 75.
Right.
Each, yeah.
Of all this square footage, how much you think people are already interested in occupying?
I've got 14 people interested in buying now. They want to buy them now.
So this would happen and these people would follow through on that?
Absolutely.
I think they'd be sold out before they were completed.
Yeah?
They will be.
Would this land lease include the 75-foot taxiways in between the rows? Or would that be city property?
This would have to be an FBA, like the co-op. It's going to have to be an FACT co-op number 2, maybe.
Yeah,
would be.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
the land would have to be paid for. So
Well, it doesn't have to be a condominium trust, but it may end up that way, you're saying.
I
Very-
think it will be.
Very likely to
I
be
think
that,
it will
because you
be.
have individual tenants
Yeah.
within
Yeah.
a communal building, so by definition, it's cooperative.
Is that how it, that's how it
And I think
derived?
the other advantage is that since the FACT co-op lease was at least partially resolved and renegotiated in living memory, it might be a really good framework for them to start with. You know, it was something that was acceptable at least as
Yeah.
4 years ago.
Yeah, it seems to work for the fact people. Yeah.
I mean, it's nice that we're getting the rent from the lease, but it'd be nice if the city could come up with funding so we can own a few of these, lease them out, and make money back for the airport, other than just raising our funds from the property lease. You know, it's great to see it starting and moving forward, but I always felt as though the city's missing out, not funding monies, and I know it's long-term, to build city-owned hangars, and I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but, you
Well,
know,
there's still a possibility in the 1, 2, the 3 other positions.
yeah.
I think this might be the private development capital that proves the case
The push they may
to
need.
drive the city into
Yeah,
a situation.
I hope it is, because I think we're missing a huge opportunity here.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when I first got on the commission, that was something we kind of looked forward to and we're kind of thriving to get, and it hasn't happened yet. And we've got our new runway and we've got land to build on. And then I keep thinking the city's not got a full view of this
Yeah,
opportunity.
In consideration of that, you know, you do have the issue of, well, if you're leasing or you're renting or leasing those buildings, then you're responsible for maintaining them. And then
Oh, no,
you have
no, I
tenants and someone's going to remove snow and
Yeah.
fix light bulbs and fix the door when the door jams. And I know that the airport staff are stretched pretty thin as it is, so.
Yeah, they're good crew. I mean, they're pretty handy. We're very fortunate to have all those guys, you know, to do our maintenance. And
I mean, being in a few meetings with the development commission, development department here at the city, without private funding is very, very, very difficult for a city to move forward.
Yeah.
All the ones at Lawrence were built with private equity.
Very, very difficult. Unless you, for some reason your city is flush with money, which we are not.
yeah.
Did you see what the price of the ones at Lawrence were, Paul? $333,000 each. These are planned to be around about $110,000 each.
It's a bargain.
It is. This is why I have 14 people on the list already.
Wow.
So
Boy, that's a lot of money
it is.
for a T hangar. Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with moving forward. I have a little reservations of having the large 100 by 150 foot hangars in the back. I mean, are those for, one large aircraft? Are they going to be, is there room for them to taxi all the way back there and then along through this other taxiway?
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
I thought in the master plan, we were separating some of the bigger box hangars from the T hangar.
Yeah, was my
Yeah,
concern. That is my
in the
concern.
drawings they submitted to us.
Yeah, but that was just a plan to show where the aviation land is. That was just a proposal.
Right, we don't have
the
to go-
boxes on. No, we don't have to work to
Okay.
that plan at all.
All right.
And plus the fact that a little bit further down this way, there's room for another 6 large corporate jet hangars. So, and that's down here.
Yeah.
Actually, the other side of this, in this area here.
Yeah, I don't think
So-
you're going to see somebody with a Challenger or a Global, 75, 100-foot wingspans coming in there. It'll be a pair of Honda jets or Cirrus jets.
Yeah.
And that's the existing taxiway we have is perfectly adequate width for that. The only thing would be the condition of it in certain places is a few dips and bumps. But
Yeah, but if I may remind you, in 2026, that unnamed taxiway is totally being regenerated.
very exciting.
So,
Yeah,
if we can get the money
Yep.
to support it,
That's an
So-
extension of the apron.
right?
It's going to be
Absolutely,
beautiful.
absolutely.
It's the way you do it.
So
Absolutely.
yes, if you would, Peter, this needs to go through Gail
But we need a vote.
and to spend money with Gail to get them to take a look at this, you're saying?
No, we need a vote just to give these guys permission to get the drawings done.
Yeah.
And then we get Gal involved
Yeah.
to do the engineering.
So I'd make a motion that the commission supports proceeding and encouraging Rocking Horse Enterprises to develop a land plan for these hangars in accordance with the document that we've reviewed tonight, and subsequent to that, reviewing it with the commission and with Gail.
Yeah, I would second that motion of Paul's. Could we have a vote on that, please?
Sure.
Aye.
Aye.
Favor.
Thank you.
I think it's a great plan.
I will let Mr. Montana know tomorrow.
I would like to know how Rocking Horse Enterprises came to be that name. Curious. All right.
Might be,
Thank you.
might be
You
his
wanted your
ranching.
rain, look outside, Richie.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Item E, after-hours bathroom facility. Okay, we are moving forward with that. We are going to present the FPA a memorandum of understanding outlining the terms, the requirements for liability insurance, the duration of this occupancy for the the availability of after-hours administration building. So, we're going to have, we'll have this to them between now and the next meeting.
So that's the FPA. So transients who are not FPA members?
Well, they're not going to have access.
So this is for badged airport tenants only?
Yes,
What if you're not a member of the FPA?
you need to get a ticket.
But you are a badged member, you're a tenant of the airport, whether you're a member of the Experimental Aircraft Association FPA chapter is debatable.
That is controlled by the desk. So if this gets approved at the end of the day by the city, then all I have to do is go into every single security badge that I have and
Gotcha.
give access
Perfect.
to.
That's the way it is.
It's not just the FPA
Yeah,
or the FACT.
It just sounded like it was an FPA only thing.
No, it's
That's the core tenancy group
Absolutely.
to start with.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and hopefully we'll have a good boys list and a bad boys list, and we can take people off the bad boys list if we need to, right?
Well, this goes a little bit further than that because it says if there's anything that the city doesn't like, then it can be rescinded within 30 days.
It's going to be on a trial
Because
basis?
it is city, you know? So,
I mean, in reality, this should work out pretty well.
there's no reason why it shouldn't.
Should, yeah.
No reason why it shouldn't at all.
So all of the pilots aren't a member of the Pilots Association?
No.
No, the FPA is
No.
a chapter of the Experimental Aircraft Association, and it just happens to be the most convenient umbrella group for perhaps non-hangar owners at the airport.
Would you say 50% of the pilots are involved with the Fitchburg
I'd say
Pilot Association?
probably less than that. I'd say it's probably close to
Oh, really?
30 or 25%. I think people kind of float in and out of it.
Okay.
FACT probably represents
75%.
more of the
Really?
tenants at the
All right.
airport. And then, of course, you've got the business owners on the other side who aren't necessarily FPA members. So.
And plus you have outside people that are FPA members as well, that don't have the cards.
Yep.
Yeah,
So for them to use the bathroom, they'd have to borrow one of their friends' cards.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
but that's one thing I will not do. I will not issue anybody with a card that doesn't have any business on the airport.
That's fine with me.
Haven't done it the last 4 years, and I
Yeah.
don't intend to do it. So.
Yeah. Otherwise, you get cards everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think access control at the airport in general is very, very good. It's increasingly important.
Yep. Okay.
And you said, I'm sorry not to belabor the issue here, but there was a liability clause in it. What is that?
There is.
Is this something we can all look at?
A clause in here, the FPA agrees to obtain liability insurance with a coverage of value of $1 million, naming the city of Fitchburg. A certificate of insurance shall be provided to the city prior to the commencement of this MOU and upon renewal of the insurance policy. That's why I thought it was for FPA members only.
So then, if I can have my badge activated as say I work at Twin City, or I'm Bill Taylor, or I'm some other tenant, but FPA is expected to develop, I'm just playing devil's advocate, this is what you're going to get back.
Right.
That you're going to hear back, like, well, why are we having to get $1 million insurance coverage for people to go to the bathroom?
Because the people at Nagel, Twin City, and any other business on the airport already has $1 million insurance cover, liability insurance cover.
And what's that projected to cost them versus getting a porta potty?
Well, they already have it too,
Paul,
FPA.
it's something like $6,000 to get that insurance cover.
Right. So they're not going to do it.
I don't know if they're going to do it or not.
They're definitely not going to do it.
Well, it's going to cost them $120,000 to put a bathroom in the Pilots Association hangar.
Yeah, I know, but option
So-
B or option C was to get a porta potty for, $110 a month and just.
Which I think is a great idea.
So the answer is effectively no, that the
But
people
we
can't.
don't know that yet.
Right.
Unless you're talking on behalf of both
I'm certainly not.
parties.
It wouldn't be appropriate. But I just know that I'm not going to, it just seems very optimistic that we're going to have a certain group of people who want access to the bathroom, but there's many others who don't belong to FPA to pony up that amount of money for the very few bathroom visits that will actually be entailed. Where did that million? That million came out of what department in the city?
That's from the City General. Any business, any person that comes onto the airport has to have $1 million liability insurance.
But does FPA already have liability insurance for their activities, presumably in their hangar, right?
Don't know.
They're not required to have insurance?
They've got insurance, yeah, definitely, they have,
So
within their hangar.
wouldn't they just be able to add the city? Isn't the city already part of their policy? We're going to have to talk to the FPA,
Right.
but isn't the city already part of their policy as a named insured? And wouldn't they be covered by that?
That I don't know, not an attorney, I honestly don't know.
Is it their badge that allows them to get into the terminal building?
Oh, yeah, they can't get in any other way,
Okay.
so,
So you don't have a badge, you ain't coming in.
Right.
No, what's more
Peter's
than that.
saying-
So you didn't have a badge and you pay $6,000 a year for an insurance policy, you're not coming in. I can hold it. I'll go to Dunkin' Donuts. But that wasn't the point. The point is
No.
that it's a human right.
Right.
Yeah, it's just that.
And this is a municipal facility that's open all the time.
Yeah, we're offering something that not a lot of people are going to actually benefit from.
One a day, tops, from airside,
Yeah.
after hours, that is. Because it's a ghost town at night. It's really only when they have FPA events.
That there's more.
oh, let's get a response back and we'll take it back to the
Is that
city.
document available for other commission members to look at?
Absolutely. The hours of operation is going to be changed.
All right, thank you. And you're going to distribute this to their representatives? I mean, I'm just personally commenting, I know that it's nobody's fault on this commission, but we're back to where we were. That they're going to have to get a porta potty, really.
Think so?
$6,000 insurance for $1 million liability for people to use the bathroom, really only when they have events. It's a non-starter.
They won't go for it.
They're a
It's a lot
small
of money.
nonprofit.
Yeah,
I understand that, but they were so adamant about wanting that access and.
Well, how much money do you remember how much money they raised from like the Ford V8 rally or the Aerofest? It's less than that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we got to be grounded in reality here. And I still maintain that, you know, it's very likely that they will pursue this from a different angle, which we should probably try to head off, which is it's a fundamental human right. The American Disabilities Act applies to this. There are people with legitimate medical conditions, and it is mass general law that if they're on public property, they need to have reasonable access. It doesn't matter what the hours are.
Yeah.
So if you have disabled pilots or people with intestinal problems, they'll lawyer up. And I think this was all soured by one particular incident. And, you know, I hope we can not throw the baby out by the bathwater here, you know.
All right. I think it'll be a work in progress.
Totally.
Okay. Item F, Naturals to Go, the vending machine with good food, snacks.
the license
Cokes.
agreement was completed by the city attorney.
Nice.
It's been signed by the new vending company. I've signed it, and it needs signing by the mayor. And once that's done, it's good to go. So they're hoping to actually start, and this was done by Attorney Mead, the head of the Mead-Tullerman Group. The planned start date would be August the 1st, because they do need 2 weeks to get the vending machine in. And like Commissioner Hathaway says, it's going to be great to have sandwiches with fresh food, you know, in
Awesome.
the building. It's going to be amazing.
Fantastic.
And they are really ready to go.
Yeah.
So I was hoping the mayor would be here tonight, but she isn't, so I'll get that signed tomorrow.
Okay.
All right?
Perfect. Well done, Peter.
Thank you. New subject, financial review, approval of commitments and abatements.
I thought this would be a good idea, a time and a place to let you know what happened with our financial year that's just ended at the end of June. The expenses for the airport have gone over $1 million. Expenses. So the expenses at the end of June was $1,063,994.60. The revenue at the end of June was $1,080,774. So we are $16,779.40 in the black. So I need to get these verified because the figures that I did get didn't include the sales for June on the fuel, which was down $66,000.
Oh, that would be a big difference.
And it's now put us in the black by 16,000 because if you look at the figures that we did get, we were down by 30 some odd $1,000. But I didn't think it was right, and I asked Debbie just to check the figures for me, and they didn't put the fuel in, which is brilliant. So we're good there. So just to give you a rough idea, the rent coming into the airport on an annual basis for last year was $380,033. The fuel sales last year, which is Jet A and 100L, was $671,747. Dollars. So, fuel sales equate to virtually twice what the rental is. So by getting these new hangars in, it's going to bring it up so that we're back to about even.
Right.
So we're on the right track. We've just got to keep going on that right track now. So.
What's the price of our fuel now?
You want to buy some?
I'm just curious.
How many gallons?
What do you want?
We are
Which fuel?
with both the jet.
Okay, the Jet A is $6 a gallon.
Yeah.
If you look around the area, we are one of the lowest.
Okay.
The 100LL is $6.86 a gallon if you buy it off the truck. If you get it from the self-serve, it's $6.56. 30 cents difference.
Right.
So, and more than half the fuel sales are from the truck. For some reason, I'm tight. I go to the self-serve, because I like to save that
So
30
we're
cents a
competitive
gallon.
within all the.
We're extremely competitive.
Okay. No, I just-
Every time I take a new fuel load, I go into the aviation fuel, I put in my postal code, and it brings me Lawrence, it brings me Gardner, it brings me Sterling, it brings me Orange, it brings me Hanscom, it brings me everybody. And we are perfectly placed.
Yeah.
That's why people, when they fly in, they're buying fuel now.
Yeah. Bedford's
So-
in the $10 plus range for both types of fuel.
Yeah.
Now, admittedly, most corporate operators going into Bedford are on a fuel contract, so they're not paying the retail price. They have a pre-agreed price, and they pay a subscription for that. So.
I just find it kind of difficult to think that a pilot's going to go way out of his way to come to Fitchburg to fuel up so he could get back to where his initial destination was, for fuel. But
People run out of fuel while flying in order to save money, and this has happened.
They do.
This has
They
happened.
do.
Seriously?
They
This has
do.
happened repeatedly in
They
this
do.
area. I know of 3
Pilots are a
accidents where I
strange breed.
knew the pilot,
Yeah.
and they didn't fuel up when they left Martha's Vineyard because they didn't want to pay the money.
Yeah.
It's too expensive, and they ran out of fuel. One case just north of Norwood, one case just north of Nashua. I forget what the other one was, but they destroyed a $400,000 plane and almost killed their family. In the case of the 2 guys, they were killed to save money.
Yeah.
You're a strange breed. That's all I'll say.
Yes, we are.
Strange.
This just to, if I may, just add 2 other things.
Yes.
Nothing doesn't require a vote or anything, but if you look at the one sheet that I gave you, Paul, yours is on your left-hand side there.
Yep.
That is the new signage for the doctor,
Oh, yes, that's beautiful.
right? And that's on the door leading up the gangway to his office. And he's got that on his office as well. It looks so professional. It's really, really nice.
Really sharp.
And
Really
I see him just about every other day. He's already done a lot of medicals. So word's getting out, which is really, really good. And the second thing is that Debbie's job was advertised. We've had 35 applicants.
Wow.
Out of that 35, I've chosen 5 people to interview, done 2 already with HR, and the first 2 were amazing. So I'm looking forward to, seeing the other three over the next 4 days. And the interviewing, as far as I'm concerned, will be ended by Monday.
Beautiful.
And we'll
So
have to make a
pretty
decision.
high quality.
Excellent,
candidates.
excellent.
Well, that's good to know.
Excellent.
People with aviation backgrounds or business backgrounds or both?
Business.
Yeah.
Business. But the key thing, because we're a department of the city of Fitchburg, you have to know the Munis system, which is the municipal system.
Got it.
And it's not easy. And the two I've seen so far, it's part of their daily job, because one works in Gardner City Council and one works in Orange City Council.
Beautiful.
And I've got two people to interview from this city as well,
Wonderful.
who are familiar with it.
Wonderful.
And the next one is the point of sale, which is QuickBooks, and they are familiar with those as well.
Great.
So the person coming in is going to have to learn how to deal and who to deal with at the FAA and MassDOT. One person I had got the documents today, and that person has an aeronautical engineering degree. He worked at New Bedford. He worked at New Jersey Airport. He worked at one of the airports in New Jersey. He worked at Bradley on control. And I said to the HR director, I said, look, let's put this guy to the side. He doesn't have the Munis or the QuickBooks experience, but he's got everything else to be the next airport manager.
Right, there you go. Perfect.
And he's a CFII, and he's a pilot, obviously.
So he gets it.
Well, you'll be missed, Peter.
Come on, everybody's replaceable. Everybody
Come
will have
see you on
forgotten
the
about me. Well, no,
Peter's not going anywhere right now.
No, I think that's a good sign. You have quality candidates.
Certainly
I mean,
have.
35, probably 15 or more were quality, and
That's-
5 you've chosen, and
Well, that's
been good so
exceptionally-
far. So
Exceptionally encouraging.
yeah, it is.
And this is
glad to hear
beautiful.
that.
I mean, this guy's got a baked-in clientele with a flight school across the carpet,
Well, think about the helicopter pilots.
Yes. First-class medical.
They're going to come up from medical. They're going
Every-
to come up from Worcester as well.
Every 6 months.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Oh, it is every 6 months.
Yeah.
Well, if you're over a certain age and you have a airline transport pilot's license, as yours truly does, it's every 6 months with an EKG every year. He doesn't do those currently, but he's going to work up to that.
Yeah.
But, they're getting
Yeah.
good money for those medicals.
Yeah. No, that's
Is he
good.
there 3 days a week?
Every day I see him.
Or is that,
But he has a job. He's an emergency doctor
all right.
in 2 or 3 of the hotels in the area.
Okay, so we're not done yet. I'm sorry. Ready? We're going to move on.
Let's do it.
Executive session, not tonight. Date and time of next regular meeting, August 21st, 2024. I'd like to adjourn, but I need to roll call to adjourn. So, motion to adjourn.
Aye.
Rich?
I'd second it, and aye.
Paul? And I'm all for it. I'm ready to go. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you, gentlemen.